Svensson cleared off the line. Fortune, it's wriggled its way in. They have to defend now though. Oh, they haven't! And Charlton are straight back into the game. The handsome split and the finish from Jonathan Fortune. There's Fortune!
Crispy. And Charlton has scrambled an equaliser. It's Jonathan Fortune.
Play towards the back post and Fortune got there! Well, is that the goal that's going to keep West Bromwich Albion up? 2-2. Late goal for Charlton Athletic. And this, Usanti's way.
Well, it's a catalogue of errors.
Gibson over this one for Kilmarnock. And saved on the line, but they've given the goal. Brindley couldn't keep it out. Steve Conroy gives Kilmarnock the goal. They have the equaliser. Ford has his goal, and it's 1-1.
I think it's given by Steve Conroy, Bill. The assistant had no appetite to run to the halfway line here. Expecting Simon Ford to go across Brindley there, and yet it's over the line. Goalkeeper's momentum takes his shoulder onto the ball. It's certainly a good decision from Steve Conroy, and it was he who did the decision, not the assistant on the far side. He must have been obstructed by the goalkeeper's body here. Lovely ball whipped in by Gibson. Ford completely unmarked. And it's another correct decision here from, well, on this occasion, Steve Conroy.
Toes corner. Ford! That should be that! Simon Ford with his second of the night. Kilmarnock in control.
Well, he's been coming around the back most of the night, Simon Ford. This time he goes front post. And he gets above Neil McGowan. But Grunley, once he decides he's coming for this, he has to get something on it. And he gets absolutely nothing. Good pace in the ball. And all Ford does is help it onto the target there. But Grunley made up his mind early, this was his. And was never getting there.
Hold on. He's rolling. You know, hold on. Everyone calm down.
I'm trying to get home. It's fucking upset. He told me to start at 6. You should have known, mate. He told me he was going live at 6.
Like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it gets like that.
I just wanna, this is the second episode. Want to thank Mo Slush for sponsoring us for this show.
Big up.
And also want to thank Jon Fortune Simon Ford for coming on.
Always, my brother.
Always
a pleasure.
Yeah,
my
so
brothers, man. Big up.
Yeah,
let's not forget Two Trust Agency. This is John's agency that you're gonna have to get to know, man. Like
You're gonna start seeing it anyway.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start seeing. You're gonna have to start getting involved. You wanna talk about your agency a little bit, or?
Yeah, so it's just obviously being ex-pros like we were, I finally got to a stage where me and my other pals and ex-player just decided to set up our own football agency for the reasons why we made it and didn't make it as far as we thought we should have in life, is to pass on that knowledge to the next generation. So he said we look at it, we've played probably at every level through the pyramid, from the Premier League down to League 2, so across the board we can offer advice to all young talent.
Facts.
So John, you played, I think you made 233 appearances in your football career.
Big.
You started off at Charlton. I think you both started off at Charlton, so that's obviously how you know each other. You was one of the lucky ones to play Prem.
Invincibles, and I played against the Invincibles and all that.
He's definitely playing Invincibles.
I always asked him how good they were. Sorry.
I'm saying that, so we each other at Charlton, and I think 4D played 288 appearances. And,
I was out there for 200.
You managed to play at Charlton, but you moved on to Grimsby to start your career there.
And the Scottish League
as well. In the Championship.
Yeah. But I'd like to kind of start off with your football, how you started off, how you got to Charlton, and starting from a kid, like
coming out of Newham.
Yeah, coming out of Newham, how you started being a footballer. Did you know you was going to be a footballer, or you just kind of fell into it?
No, it's I think obviously football's in my blood from very early. Like Dad's a very big influence on me. I remember being at Dad's games, watching him from 3 years old, being in every team photo with them. There's the guys that you see at Power League now, the old men that are 60 odd now, that I'm in photos with them at 3 years old.
Big
right?
them up as well, my uncle.
Bill Smith, Steve Finley, them guys there.
Big John,
so
big pioneers, to be fair.
I've always been around football. Football's in the blood in that respect. My first club I managed to play for was fun enough, Ripaway.
Yeah.
Ripaway.
The other side. The other side, mate.
So I was at St Edward's Primary School, and then they come in and done a session at the school, and I went and played for them. But Dad was very quickly said, "Oh, you're too good for these." Like in the first month or two that I was there, like you need to go to the next level.
Yeah.
And he brought me out of that and took me to Senrab.
Oh, wasn't you in Echo 8?
No, I'm talking about this would have been under
well before then, isn't it?
This would have been under 7s or 8. This is real early, yeah. So primary
under
school.
7s.
I'm talking about under 7. Like I joined Senrab under 9s.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm talking about the first year in primary school
young,
when they
boy.
put.
You started young.
I'm talking about the first time when they put a team
Especially
together.
from back then.
Yeah. And then because Dad had been through it with my uncle who was a professional footballer at Senrab, he said we're going to go over here. And I remember going to Senrab and I'm having myself. I'm a good player in the ends. Like I can do my stuff. I go to Senrab, and at the first training session, I'm like,
It's like a pro club, isn't it?
Wow. Like I'm probably like the 8th or 9th. You know what I mean? Like,
are you talking about the Senrab with Ledley, JT?
So funny enough, we're a year above them. Okay. So Ledley was with us. When I first joined, Ledley, Bobby, me, Kemi, Izzy, and a few older ones, we were all together in a pot. And then the first age you put a team together, Ledley was too young, so he had to go down the age group, right? And then JT and that famous team come the year behind us. So the famous Senrab team is Jon Terry, Ledley, Konchesky, J Lloyd, rest in peace. Yeah. So they're all a year below me. Yeah. And like I said, my team they couldn't even get near my team because our team was very good.
Yeah.
What position you playing these times?
These times I was playing right midfield.
That's a good
right wing.
Yeah.
I remember you as a forward.
I was a little curly.
Little curler.
I would come off the pitch immaculate, clean. Dad would look at me like winter. I'll be like this, not moving from the side. We'll make a tackle, we'll just try and nutmeg people and just do skills. I was probably the most talented in the group, but just never had that side to my game yet. So yeah, I've done from 9 to under 14, 5 years at Senrab, all the way through. And then Charlton scouted us and ended up at Charlton as a schoolboy.
Did they scout you and Kemi together? Because I know Kemi was at Charlton, right?
Kemi was at Charlton, yeah. So we had a good group. We used to have a satellite centre for Charlton out of Newham Leisure Centre. Yeah, so that's where we all the ones who Steve Watson and people, all the people decided the river was start at Newham Leisure Centre playing for Charlton. Okay. Then once you went past 14 years old, you would go to the main centre and join up with the South Boys. Okay. But our Senrab team was special. Wow. Yeah, so we had a few mad characters that didn't go on to make it professionally, but during our time, we were like undefeated for many, many years. Wow. But the year below us, they're the ones that all blew up and went pro.
Let me just ask you a quick question. Who was the best player that at them times that didn't make it?
Out of my group?
Yeah. That you thought that because obviously when you're young, you always have somebody that you think
you're now on to make it. So out of my group, it would have been one of my best mates now, Marvin Newville. Big Marv.
Big Marv
was like a man, wasn't he? Like he was Craig Richardson, another lad. He should have made it, but got caught by the other side of trappings that happens from our lives, from where we're from. Another lad who was very good that you would know of is a guy called Danny Carnegie, who is footsie, Newham Generals. He was in my year group as well. So yeah, it was. It's a fine balance, right? At that age, I think. The way I look at it from our Senrab groups is every year got more professional. So the year above me, who were extremely good, Warren Bryan, Terry May, Georgie Neal, they were fucking out in clubs at 14 years old.
They're proper boys though. They're proper lads though,
They were geezers from early, like
famous Senrab games and go to the pub. Oh man.
Yeah, they were on bits from early, right? So my year, a few of us went the wrong way. 15, 16 early, right? That year below us, they never got them trappings as much. Yeah. maybe a few might do it, but not as many get caught in the trappings, and then obviously it gets filtered down to your year, to Defoe's year, and then you don't lose as many rogue ones.
No, true.
That's my belief in it, right?
Yeah, I agree.
You used to have a very similar, football road, because I'm sure you played for Senrab as well.
Yeah.
Tell us about your football journey?
So my football, to be honest with you, I wasn't even interested in football till I was about 7 or 8. I remember Mr. Agas used to do like the summer camps in it, where kids from anywhere could go to the school and play. And when I was 7, obviously my brother was 7 years older than me. I was following him everywhere. So I remember I begged him. Didn't want to go to a childminder. Said, Mum, tell Darren I got to go with him. So he took me. I'm his little brother, he don't want to hang about with me, innit, obviously. Yeah, so he's gone there, he spoke to a couple of the younger boys, I think, and then Dave said, all right, you can come in the gym with us. But he didn't know I could play football. So he's gone out to do what he's doing, come back in, they all run into him, oh my God, Fordy, your brother's sick, da-da-da. And I remember counting, it was all about goals, innit? So I think I remember saying, yeah, I scored 31 goals. And he went, 31 goals? How much games you play? I said, about 3.
I know them.
Yeah, you know them ones.
I know them games.
But obviously I'm playing against kids that are 4 years older than me, like 11, 12-year-olds. And I'm 7. And good maths, by the way.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So then because I had a bit of talent, I thought, oh, okay, so he's gone home, told my dad. And my dad's probably been dying for me to play football for time, and I'm never interested. I used to like running. And then started playing. We used to go to church on a Sunday. And so my mum was umming and ahhing about a team. So my brother's mate knew someone who was starting a team called Abbey Raiders. And went down there, trained. I was mad shy because all these boys had been playing football and knew what they was doing, and I was just like a bit reserved. And then we played a couple games and I started to grow. And then it got to the point where I was better than everybody. And similar to John, it took me, I think, a year and a half, but I was like giving it all my all and I hated losing. So I was like scoring 2 goals or doing something. We're losing like 3-2 and I'm just getting mad. Like,
at what position are you playing these times?
Centre mid.
Yeah.
So I used to be like, take goal kicks because I could kick a ball far and like pick the ball up, take everyone on, score, and then dead score. And I was like, oh, my team's shit, man. I didn't know what that was, but in my head I was like, and I'm coming off and I'm like, sore losers. As we lost, we just walked off the pitch, like sometimes in tears because I hated losing then. And my dad's like, no, I can't do this anymore, we got to go. And then obviously everyone knows about Senrab. One of the guys has seen a couple of games. I think I might have even played against them. And he's always kept saying, come over. But again, because I was shy, I didn't want to do that. And then got to the point where I think I was 10, 11. And I went over there. And like John said, the standard was completely different. I remember all the boys had like their tracksuits on. And I thought, wow, this is like a professional club. It was a bit daunting, especially at that age. You know what I mean? You're going over and you're thinking, I've come from, no disrespect, where boys would come in, some had kit, some didn't, kind of thing. And then you got a team kitted out, X amount of balls, nice Phillies to train. Yeah, everything was just right. Do you know what I mean? And then
used to winning every week.
Yeah. And then you go there.
Who was there at that time?
Bio, Gary Scott.
Like in Fenmore?
Yeah. I think Yoens Lewis was playing up. There was a couple of them because Jermaine's team, the year younger, was so good. Yeah. Some of them used to play up for games because they had like their squad was massive. They just had so many good players. Yeah. I think even Ledley played when I first went there, or he was to train with us. I don't know why, because he was a year older.
Clayton played for Senrab as well, right?
Yeah.
Was he your year?
No, Clayton's a year younger.
Did he play higher?
No. He was Defoe's age group, wasn't he?
He always stayed.
There's 2 age groups that stand out. So you get little
that one.
You get little gems of groups of gatherings. So it's Ledley's age group with the boys that I mentioned there, and Defoe, Clayton, Casey,
Leon Knight,
Leon Knight. That age group. We used to go watch their games because Clayton, my little cousin's playing, right? Used to go from our game
they were
straight
so
to
good.
there.
Big up Clayton as well.
Seriously, they were like a proper team.
Yeah, Leon Knight and Defoe.
And Yoens up, them 3 up front was just and Yoens used to play left, and he was frightening back then.
Clayton was a striker these times.
Clayton used to play centre mid. Unbelievable.
Jermaine and Leon up front.
Something different, mate. They were.
You're not losing games.
Yeah.
I think they used to score like 7 goals a game each. They were just too good for everybody.
But how did you find? So how did you find it like coming out from where you're from and actually like?
I think you know what, joining Senrab was a big part of that because a lot of my Senrab team wasn't from East London. Well, they weren't from Newham, so a lot of them were from like the Isle of Dogs, other ways kind of thing. So I think I was the only me and Gary Scott were the only ones from Newham.
From Newham, yeah.
So
isn't it crazy? Stop me there. Isn't it crazy? We're all from East London, but the different parts seem so far away.
So far away.
Yeah, at that particular time.
You know what I mean? Like miles away, innit?
Like them Bow boys and them Stepney boys.
It was like a completely different kind of different, completely different. And I think the way they even carried themselves was a little bit different. Do you know what I mean? And as I said, going to somewhere like that, it was a bit more professional. They were geared up. They were like, I'm gonna be a pro. Their parents were like drumming them, you're gonna be a pro from that age. Where my parents weren't really doing that. So talking to them and seeing how they were acting and like how they weren't going to this for, or they was missing out on that, or they couldn't train because they was playing for their district at the time or whatever. I was doing the same thing, but I was trying to play for district, school, them, some other team that we just made up because like some all-star team. Like I was just playing football all the time, and then I started to realize, oh, hold on, you can't do. Or I wanted to go and play with my mates like on a Friday, on a Saturday for a game on a Sunday, and like you tell them, and they're like, well, are you tired? And I'm like, so you feel before that would have been fine, but when you go there, you feel embarrassed to say that you was kicking the ball all night or you didn't go sleep till 12, kind of thing. So they gave me that like professional kind of base from early to say if I want to kick on, and not even kicking on that like being pro, if I want to be established in this team and not be like the weak link, then I need to start doing things right, even from that age.
Discipline more so than anything else, isn't it?
And near enough the whole, like for our age, like near enough all of us at 14 were at pro clubs.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But being at the whole club though, John, and like playing with elite players, then you're at Charlton. Did you think, okay, I'm gonna make it to the first team?
I was
just going year by year.
Yeah, I was a late developer. So like I said, look, from you, I know your story. You said you was at the front of the pack from very early.
Yeah.
Now I understand it. I'm an August birthday, so that means I'm the youngest in the year. I'm like 7 days from being.
Yeah, you missed out on being on Kemi's age and that, innit?
Okay. So I'm a real late developer in my year. So much as I'm playing in my year, like I'm giving, like Marvin's my best friend. He's September. I'm giving him 11 months. Yeah. So when you work it out now, we've got kids. Your kids change every 2-3 months, right? 2 months ago, how your kids were to what they are now, your little one, is a massive change, right? Yeah. So I'm already giving up them 11 months to people, so I'm chasing already, you know what I mean? So I could never envision myself being the guy because the guys in front of me were so much better than me and so much bigger and stronger than me. So I've found a new way of fighting. So it wasn't, I wouldn't say, I didn't truly believe until I was about 16, 17. I was going to have a chance. I knew I was a good player.
Before you got in the building?
No, I just.
So once you signed your YT, that's when you started to believe?
Yeah, when I realised that I'm one of the best ones in my team. So when I'm talking about pro level now, at Sunday football and growing up, you know you're one of the best players in the team, but you don't see that. We never knew no one on TV who was a pro that made it, right?
But you signed your YT as a centre back, right?
No, I signed my YT
as he wasn't a centre back.
No, I signed YT as a centre forward.
So was it who changed you then? Who realised, you know what? How did that come about? Yeah,
so we had a coach called Thierry Wesley, who I believe had he's my youth team manager, so he had a huge influence on me. But I only actually, when I think about it, I only had him for 2 years, which was the youth team years. Yeah. But we basically, I'm a first year YT, I'm playing up front. This is actually a decent story, to be fair. I'm playing up front for the youth team. And that first season as a forward, I scored 7 goals, as a centre forward.
Yeah. Season?
The whole season, yeah. The second year, I played centre half. I scored 12 goals.
So you're not very good centre forward.
But what he was trying to say is that I'm a late developer, as I said to you, because I'm August. He was always telling me you're going to grow into your body, you're going to grow into your body. But I got my body in my second year. I didn't have it in my first year. But basically, in that first year, when everyone was getting released, we were a few defenders down. Yeah, so he goes to me, can you do a job for me at centre half today? I think we had 3 games of the season left, and we was going Norwich away, and now he's bringing through the younger generation, but he's asked me, can you go and play centre half, please? So I said, look, no problem, I'll do it. We went and played with Norwich at the time. We were top draw academy.
Good team.
Craig Bellamy was up front for them in the youth team. It was highly rated. We end up losing 1-0. I do very well. At that time, everyone's trying to create the new Rio, right? Yeah. So it was all free at the back, spread out, play, and I'm a comfortable footballer. So I'm coming out, I'm playing or whatever. And he was like, look, you look really good there. We've got 3 games of the season left. Give it a go. These times, Dad's switched on because he's a football man as well. He's like, no, they're trying to make way for Charlie McDonald, Lee Howes, who were the next year forwards. Yeah. So it's like they
didn't want to split up that partnership.
They're trying to make way for the next way. But as he's telling me that, I played again, and the game felt easier to me, right?
It's all in front of you, innit?
Yeah, I just felt easier.
Do you feel like if you were still in your position, you would have got to the same level, the same standard?
And that's why I tell you about the goals, because I'm not sure, because I was getting my strength. My strength was coming. So I had an eye for a goal at that particular time. So they say if you get 7 playing as a centre forward and you play centre half the next year and you get 12, it was coming, right? It was coming. The strength was coming.
Well, even to change positions at that age, you know something's happening.
I would never know which one I would have been better at, but I truly actually believed that. I'm more comfortable in this position. And then literally, at the end of the summer, he said to me, "I believe you should stay centre half. How do you feel about it? Let's give it a go." And I said, "Yeah, I invest in it. Let's go." And then, like I said, next year I felt like I was one of the best players in the team. Yeah. I got to that stage now where I truly believed in myself, and that's when I started believing I could be, I am going to be a pro. Yeah. But it wasn't until that switch. So that was second year. I'm 17 years old.
When did you get? Because you said before, like you wanted to nutmeg people, your sleeves were rolled up and that. When did you? And I know what you're like as a player. When did you get that aggression? What age did you feel that came?
Yeah, he's very.
Yeah.
A lot of dirty.
Because I know you growing up as a kid, you was that like flicks, tricks, all kind of things. So
he wasn't mean. That's
what I'm saying.
I wasn't mean.
Yeah, you was.
No, you was horrible.
You
was horrible.
Yeah, naturally. I never had that. So
I was one of them.
It's not natural for me. As I've got older, it's become more natural.
But do you think that was how you grew up? Do you think that's the environment you grew up in? So you had to be.
I think some kids have just got it. I truly believe some kids have just got it. I look at some kids, and my little boy plays football now, and you just I can see a mean streak in some kids, and it ain't because they're from there or from there. They're just some kids just got it earlier than others.
But then some kids develop it early because they have to. Because their environment tells them, look, you can't even show any kind of like weakness here. Sure. So that goes onto the pitch.
But
do you know what I mean?
I think there's a lot of difference between having that in from where you're from and having that outside of that. I feel like the struggles that you go through anyway, like certain situations, like even when you're on the pitch, like you say you was a mean player, but like your story, people can maybe atone to or understand why you may have been that mean player. A lot of people are angry on the pitch, but are very. Yeah,
but some people, because some people take out their anger on the pitch.
Exactly, because there's a lot of that. Because I've had a lot of agginess on the pitch that is not really.
So imagine I'm getting told by my youth team manager, like, you need to be more aggressive. You need to be more demanding from people. Like, go do your 100 headers a day, because I didn't like heading the ball. Like all the things I didn't like doing, I had to become a centre half, right? As we all know, because we're all centre halves. But that was not natural for me. I had to be trained to become that, right? So that I'm working on them things, and I'm a couple of years older than these boys. And I remember going to watch a game. You was playing against him, youth team. Yeah. And I come down to watch at the training ground, and I'm seeing Izzy pinching his centre forward and stepping on his toes. And I'm like,
talking to him.
But Izzy's,
people don't hear the conversation. People don't hear the conversations on the pitch.
Izzy's about 15, but you're probably playing youth team, yeah. But all the things that this guy's trying to make me be, right? Yeah. And Dad's a bit of aggressive. And I remember seeing Dad stepping on toes, and Dad saying grab people's nuts and elbow them. But it's not natural for me. But I'm watching
different
Izzy.
Generation. You think?
I'm watching Izzy, and I'm like, this kid's got it now.
Yeah.
Like, naturally now. Angry like now. scaring people. Yeah. Like intimidating. The poor boy was who's the boy up front for your youth team?
Paul McCarthy.
Yeah, scared of the living daylights.
Didn't want to go anywhere near.
Have you ever played against each other professionally?
I played against him once.
Yeah, I've never had a chance.
I've never.
He played against him for what?
And we won, by the way. Because he used to smoke us all the time. When we used to play...
Who did you play for?
I was playing for Kilmarnock, he was playing for Hamilton.
Kilmarnock and Hamilton.
It counts, mate. Them youth team games don't count.
Counts,
His team used to smoke us all the time, and I went to him that day. I went, "You ain't got Coley today, mate."
Oh, we said without him, you couldn't. We said without him.
His team was awful, by the way. His team was awful. He didn't want to be out there.
Yeah, they just put everybody together at one point, like literally like 11 new players. Hamilton, we just went there. I had no knees. I think I had to borrow one of Fordy's knees.
Yeah, he probably did. To be fair.
Let me just put a statement on. I seen the clip. I'm so impressed by what you guys are doing, by the way. But I see the clip that went out the other day, and this guy's saying about what he believes he could have or would have been.
Yeah.
And let me put a statement on it.
I agree.
This guy would have been a superstar.
Do you know what? What I hear from outside the circle is that he really would have been.
100%.
But as John said, it was more than ability. It's the game now. It's like it's the pinching, the stepping on, the leadership, the intimidation, like all that come with it, as you see pros do. He had it at a young age. I don't know where he developed from. I know West Ham had a really good youth team, and he was very close with the pros, but he picked up things so quick. I remember when I first see Izzy and we first like playing for the school team together. Very raw. Very, very raw. And you're a mate yourself. But like it's slow. He used to be like, "Oh, Ford, you like technique, you like to bring it down." And all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, he's doing the same thing. Better. Like pinging the ball.
Do you know what? He probably had that thing that he didn't ever want to be. Not be able to compete with the best.
Yeah, he didn't want to be second best.
Like, there's
If you can do it, I want to do it.
I remember like starting and I watched Fordy, like he can kick a ball. Like he said, he can kick a ball far. So he used to take the goal kicks in our school. Keeper couldn't kick it that far. I used to watch the way he kicked. I couldn't kick the ball that well back in them times because I never played football. Like, you know what I mean? I played cricket. So I used to study him and thinking, bro, like, you know, he used to take all the free kicks, goal kicks, corner. He took everything.
That's a goal kicks and then corner. That's a goal kicks and then corner.
When did you two first come across each other, or first hear about each other?
Secondary school, first year.
First year secondary school.
Year 7, yeah.
I never, like I said, I never played football, but this time he's already played for like Senrab. Like,
Playing for Newham.
Yeah, on the first episode, he says he was the best. He was the best
for sure.
District, best in the school, everything. He said he was the best.
Yeah, when he got to district, then there was like more talent. Them lot were like kind of even. There was a lot of talented players at Newham.
Yeah, our team was good.
I mean, I'm just coming with my plimsoll, like trying to fit in. Like these lot were very talented. You know, they were very talented. But I used to watch everything and try and pick it up. You know what I mean?
But that's why I say credit to you. You picked it up very quick.
No, I felt like I had to because I was already behind. Remember, I never played football, so I was already behind you. And then training, like having the chance to play for West Ham and training with people like Joe Cole, I used to copy. Like I played midfield with him. Like, I used to try and copy everything he did, and then bring it to school and do it. And like, you know what I mean? Get a mask with people like, bro, like they don't know.
What's that trick? Yeah. I remember he coming. He done something. I was like, whoa, how did you learn that?
And that's another thing I think that's great about our childhood, right? In different ways, when you speak to different ones about kids coming through now and how they make it, we had so many layers to where we played football, right? So you had pro clubs, that was the high end, right? Then you had Essex, then you had district, right? And then you had your school team, then you had your Sunday team. Then you had your mates over the park. You know what I mean? Then you just had.
That was a challenge.
That was a challenge, right?
No, but you think about summertime when we all used to play.
Yeah. And then you just got your school playground mates, which is a different level again. So you've got different ways to try all these things out, and realizing that you're okay. I'm the best player here. I'm 8th here. But you've got different layers to work out.
Yeah, for real.
Where now kids that I know of just go Sunday team and play for their pro club, Sunday team and play for their pro club, and they ain't got the different like playgrounds that you can experiment.
All right, so obviously you got a son that you're trying to nurture into the highest level. Would you say then? What advice would you give to people that are raising their children then in terms of what you had?
It's tough. It's something you've got to learn on the job, because the best way I can describe it is my son. As much as we're a football family and go play football and enjoy yourself, he only gets to play football now if I take him somewhere. Yeah. So you got another pal that we all know, Shane's kid, Rion. If we're not dads that are available to take our kids somewhere, our kids don't play football.
So do you feel then you would have got there if you were at your father?
Possibly not, because Dad is so influential on what I done. But
You still would have had a chance back then.
You don't know because, like you said, you found a way, right? Your dad's not there, but you love football. You find a way, right? So. I wouldn't know that because Dad is so influential in my journey. But what I'm talking about, these kids now, like we could always, whether Dad was around, I could always go find a way to play football. I could go outside.
You got options.
Yeah, I could go outside. Boys are playing there. People are over Newham Leisure Centre. People are over there. Like there's always.
So your talent probably would have been recognised.
You're gonna get recognised. I'm talking about my kid now.
They don't play. Do they play in the park?
There's not really any nurturing
Unless you're really from the ends and there's a cage on your block, you don't come outside and play football.
It's crazy. Like we used to be in Barking Brick.
It should be everywhere. Central Park.
So my kid now, unless I'm available to take him somewhere, he can't kick a ball.
Yeah.
Like he can go in the garden and pray, but there's no group of friends. Let's meet up and let's do outside. He's 9 years old. Obviously,
he's still
so
young.
Ain't gonna say. Let's go meet up around here. But we had that open the door. There's a community playing football, right? Whether
that's what's missing now, then, or
from certain areas, that's why I believe like it's further into subjects and a different one for you. That's why South is blossoming so much right now.
Yeah, 100%.
They've still got that community. Like our East community is not in East no more, right? We're all in different places, so we haven't got that same structure where we can just go kick ball like our generation did. Where South have got the cages where they're all at it every day.
Yeah. It's even just hanging out and playing stuff like that will just make you improve, right? And realizing how much you're playing. Sometimes you're out there. You could be out there on summer holidays.
You don't even know how long.
I used to go London before. Like I say, Auntie Mel, big up my Auntie Mel all the time, man. And you go there, you're playing football for 10, 11 hours a day.
Exactly.
Street football makes you.
You're down there, you're playing all day. You don't even realise you're playing all day. You're playing all day.
It's the school of hard knocks,
mate.
mate.
A lot of players in street football.
On gravel.
And if you're enjoying it, you don't even feel like you're playing football.
No, you're there for hours.
You'll play game after game. You'll play game after game.
And then you're here like, oh, them guys 3 roads up, they're decent.
That's what it is.
But that 3 road up seems so far away.
So far, like a different.
Even little things like, like before you used to put your coat there and your other coat there at the goal, and you just argue about the bar.
If the shot was too high,
little things like all of that. No, they ain't got all that.
You think where we're from in terms of Nans at Napier Road, where we spent all our time as a family in that respect. I go outside, we got a grass pitch where you guys are, not a grass, but a little grass area.
Yeah,
right?
you got the areas.
And it was like, so I'm playing there, Clayton's playing there, Terry's playing there, Petchy's playing there, Defoe's coming down.
Jermaine's coming down.
So our community of footballers already.
You've already got your 5-a-side.
You know what I mean? We've got a group. Like, so you every whether we reach each other every day, every 2-3, you're testing each other. You're playing, right? So you're I'm the older ones giving to the younger ones in that respect, but you've got. You've got hours to spend with each other.
You got options. You got opportunity to play.
Let's go 3 down, black pitches down. Let's go test them lot. And we had that, right? So they would, whether it was Dad around or someone else would have been able to say, oh, them 2 have got talent. Let's take them here. You know what I mean? So like I said, I truly would never have made it without Dad because he's so influential in my life.
That's all you know.
That's all I know. So I couldn't answer what if he wasn't around, right? But guess what? Clayton's dad wasn't around. And Clayton went on to be a pro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you probably would have still got there.
Because of
I think you would have found.
But it does help. But it just does.
Of course, it
helps.
Yeah,
it was easier back then than it is now. I think you definitely would have found a way.
Yeah, because literally now, if you ain't got,
I easier to make it back then than it is now.
Yeah.
I think to get around and be able to like play football and like find parks and find friends to play with. Kids don't go out anymore to play together.
So what do you think you need now to make it? What do you think?
I think your parents need to be in your life. Like obviously, not everyone has that opportunity. You know, there's still people single parent, but a lot of the mums.
A lot of the single parents are still doing the same thing, though.
Oh, massively.
You
know
what
I mean? Big up to the mums.
So there's 2 things someone explained to me. For your kid to have a chance now, you need neither time or money. Yeah. So if you time means that you can go and take your son to that training session here, that match, yeah. Money means that you can, which is a big phase now, pay for
someone else
that
to do
one coach to do it. That extra training. That whichever you go to a power league now at Beckton, right? You turn up there and you'll see 7 or 8 one-on-one coaches.
You know what, John? That's interesting. You just bring that up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Did you think we needed that?
Not in our way of playing because we get so much time with the ball.
You got so comfortable with the ball all the time.
We had so much
You
time.
probably had it without realising.
But then saying that,
Listen to what I said, right? Is that my kid don't play football unless I take him somewhere.
Yeah,
So now we've got so many experiences of getting time with the ball and playing. So even if you're going outside your nans or your mums or your dads or whatever, and you're playing with your pals, that's 6-7 hours of playing football.
Picking up
Yeah.
things you don't.
you're so comfortable with the ball.
You've got to make these hours up for these kids because if I take my kid West Ham, he's only training for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Where does he make? Where does he get the rest of his hours?
How you finding it then? In the battle with trying to make your son make it as a pro and living in.
You know,
it's How you finding that?
I hear what you're saying. It's not make it as a pro, right? So the idea is for your son to enjoy something that
Do you feel like he can enjoy it without the enjoyment aspect that you didn't have? Because obviously the enjoyment aspect is with your friends and your peers and natural, innit? Do you feel like he can enjoy it if you're
of course, because
training
that's what he knows. That's his fun.
Yeah, he's still playing. With
That's
his
his
friends.
none.
For
So
him, it's
I protect him from knowing what
The real
everything
pressure,
else is,
yeah.
right? So he just knows that he plays for his Sunday team. So even like, say for instance, he signed for West Ham under 9s season just gone. He'd been training at West Ham since he was 6, but I never allowed him to know what that was. It was just a training
I remember
session.
actually one time we went to watch him, and we was having a conversation. But I don't know if you remember this. We went to and it was a little way out actually. I think it was a little way out, and we were talking about would you still let him play with his friends? Remember, we was having a conversation about he was playing pro now, or he's playing at a pro academy, but would you still let him play on the Sunday league because he was still going to play? Because he was way better than because his son's playing Sunday league. He's way better than everyone on the pitch, like way better than everyone. But his son wants to play on the pitch
Because he enjoys it.
He still wants to play. He still wants to play with his friends and still like. I don't know if there's a battle because you were saying that your school, obviously they've seen it now anyway. But you were saying with your school that you was playing year 7, year 8, year 9, and year 10, or in theory. So I don't know if you. What do you feel the battle is between?
But there's a battle in that because I saw the clip of that, and that sometimes is where having a parent, father figure involved pays off because I know they couldn't have said to me, "You got to play for year 9." When I was year 8.
Based on your parents?
Yeah, because my dad said, you're playing too much football. And I was already playing too much football then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was training twice a week. I think I was at Leighton Orient at the time, from 13, and then playing for Newham, playing for the school. School games were midweek, innit? So he's playing midweek. But our team's good. So we're getting to like finals here. So with later stages of everything, Essex Cup, London Cup. But then on the Saturday, because we're just playing some stupid team, New Ilford or something, he's being asked to play for the year up. And then they were even like, I remember it, it's mad, it's only good he said, but I remember they were changing kickoff times. So he'd play for us. And they'd be like, oh, we don't want to get them to get beat too much. Can you go and play for them? Like, he just played 90 minutes, well not 90, whatever it was at the time. And now you're going to go and play. But that's the kind of thing that wouldn't happen now.
Yeah.
You're protected away from that.
He feels like he had injuries, but imagine thinking that the reason why you potentially got injuries is because you're playing too much football as a child.
Yeah, burnout's a massive thing.
a real thing.
I know a lot of players, especially when you're growing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're growing, you got to think about your joints, your knees. I remember, I don't even know if you
by
still
the
think.
way, by the way, he was growing.
I heard you were 6'2 at the
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that comment. 12. You were 6'2 though.
6'2 at 14.
I swear Clayton was taller than me.
The way people, hey, listen,
No one was taller than you, bro. That's what taller than you.
you were 6'2", 500 pounds, seeing everything.
You're right age though. You're right there. Must was like 6'2 at 14 and that.
No, Izzy was a man. Izzy was a man before his time. A true man before his time. Shall I tell you a funny one about, like you said about Charlton or whatever? I remember going, joining up with the rest of the Charlton group and coming across Mossy for the first time, Amos.
Yeah.
And being like 14, 15 and hearing that this boy is 13, 12. And I'm like, no, he's a man.
Yeah.
Like, he's bigger than me. Like he was huge. I felt like that. So like you feel like
It's funny how big you
like
think
people
he
are
is.
bigger than your
But
dad,
when you
right?
look at him,
and you forget, right? But I remember seeing him for the first time, like, oh wow, what is that? Like,
I had exactly the same, like, because that's the first time I see Moss was in school. I had exactly the same like reaction because we played St. Bonds, and I was like big, like tall but skinny.
Yeah.
But Mossy was stocky.
Solid.
Yeah, he was fit, and I'm like, I saw this guy. I was a bit nervous. That's the first time. Because like a lot of people talked about this.
They're
guy.
talking about the clashes and that kind of thing.
he was an end superstar.
Yeah, he
you
was a
heard the
superstar.
name before you heard
no
it.
one knows about me. I'm just starting that. But everyone knows about Amos.
Whether you've seen him or not, you've heard this
You've
name.
heard about Amos.
Oh, was he like meant to
Yeah, bro. Moss was a superstar.
He was the fastest in the end. Oh, Moss, yeah, for real.
This is his thing there. We should really bust it, but this is his thing, man. Big up
but
Moss.
still,
But
so when we played him, like, I thought, I was asking questions, like, because obviously Fordy knows him and that's, you know, this kid. So we played against him, like, he just bullied everybody on the pitch, bro.
So he was good as his reputation said.
Yeah, his strength was unbelievable. Like, he just taking the ball, just run, and he was quick. Like, when John said, like, he's a proper man, like, he was Mossy was big and strong.
Yeah.
He was at West Ham as well. Yeah, he was big and strong at that age.
Before we even, let me just flip the subject quickly. Who's the best player you ever played against? Randomly, because obviously I was gonna go to who's played at Wembley. I was gonna say who's played at Wembley.
At what age?
Any stage. Or the best player you've seen, or.
I can't lie. I know a lot of people say. I know a lot of people say it, and I would have loved to see how he developed because me and him got close at a point at Charlton, and Casey Ashman was unbelievable to a point where I don't know if you remember, but I was like in charge, getting him training and stuff like that. But then we used to go college on Thursday, Wednesday, I can't remember what it was. But then he was training with the first team.
At 15?
I think he was 16 at the time, because it was my second year. And you come in, and like, you know when there's certain team players that the first team just didn't know about, and he's young coming in, and you come in and everyone's like, he's at the table talking to people, and I heard he was just, you know when someone's just meant to be at a level, play at a level, and just, it just comes
His
natural.
mindset as well, like he wasn't.
He didn't care.
No fear.
He didn't care. He didn't care.
That's the bare minimum.
And I think, but that's what sets certain players apart. Of like, sometimes there's like the gods of football where their talent's undeniable, but sometimes there's not that much of a difference between the levels of players. Do you know what I mean? There might be a player, and actually I played against a player, played with Mark Randall when he was at Chesterfield, and he played for Arsenal at 16 in the Champions League. And I used to see him at Chesterfield, and everyone was like, he's rubbish. But he was so good in training. But the problem was, he used to get the ball in centre midfield on a Saturday and look up. And at Arsenal, he's got 6 options. He's playing for us. He's got 1, and he's got to get it over someone's head. and he's got to do it so they can control it as well. So he can't even zip it in. So it comes to a point where like certain people, if they don't find their level straight away, there's some that, like the Jamie Vardys, they work their way up there. They got that hunger, fight for it. And there's some players that are just meant to be at this level. And if they can't play that level, they might as well jack it in because they can't do anything else.
Shall I tell you something funny what you're talking about there, and we'll go back to that again. But I remember Terry, as you know, I used to manage a guy called Terry Wesley. He was at West Ham a few years ago. When I was a first year, because he never picked us. We got picked by a guy called Neil Bamfield. Terry Wesley comes in and becomes our youth team manager, but he's not picked none of us, right? So he's trying to work.
He come in your year, innit, when you first got in the building,
and he's just sacking people left, right, and centre. He's come in. I swear down to you.
He was savage. I loved him.
He's come in first day. He said there was 13 of us, right? New YTs. There's too many of yous.
13.
There's too many of yous. I don't like the look of yous. You all look too. You don't like the look of yous. You don't look like, because we got some real street boys, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, I've got to work this out, yeah? These times I've turned up late first day because a guy called Dwayne Minder's car broke down and we had all manners to get there. So I'm already behind, right?
You already know he's gonna.
I'm already in his watch list, yeah? I'm already in his watch list, yeah? So he's gone to us, lot, right, you two turn up late today, come see me after. So he goes, all right, I'm going to give the boys the day off tomorrow. You two have got to come in and we're going to go for a run, right? So he took us to Greenwich Park. But he's already said, listen, some people are getting sacked. So I'm late first day already. We're on watch list from day dot, yeah? So he goes, yeah, do these runs. So he's doing these runs. Greenwich Park is mad hills, right?
Horrible.
So
That's all madness.
in that bad way, but we're trying our heart out because we're scared of what this guy's going to do for us, right? So he's coming, he goes, you know what, fair play to you guys. 3 of us are like, excellent attitude today. You've just set all the times for tomorrow.
Killed your team.
You know you're flat out.
We got nothing else to give.
There's no way tomorrow I'm beating that.
We got nothing else to give.
There's no way.
went back to Greenwich Park tomorrow. We've done all the same runs. Everyone's puking up, being sick, but he played mind games with us, right? So so that's my first beginnings with him, yeah? So after about a month, he's walked past me one day and he's gone, Fortune, you know what? There's something about you. I don't know what it is yet, but there's something about you that I like. And then he got into me a bit more, and he went to me, he said a statement, he goes, you'll neither play at the top, when I started playing second after the second year, he went to me, you'll neither play at the top level or you won't play at all. But these times I'm thinking to myself, that don't even make sense. Like, if I can play at the top level, then I can play at any level. Like, that's just chatting shit to me for. I didn't get it, right? I didn't get it. I played over 100 games. You said my numbers, right?
In Premier League as well. You played a lot of games in Premier League.
You played 133 games in the Prem.
No, but in terms of my overall numbers, 200 something, right? I played 230 Premier League, and then probably about the rest of my career.
8 goals as well.
Yeah, the rest of my career was them numbers, right? So he showed that he was true. I'll either make it at the top or after that, I wasn't really as successful as I was at the top level. So like you said, some people are built to find it easier at that level than others. So anyone who makes their way upwards, like my respect levels is huge because that's the hardest way to climb.
It's hardest to get there, but once you're there,
no, it's hard I think it's harder to maintain.
No, maintain.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to get there, but to stay there.
To stay there.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard to stay up.
Tell us about you, because it was a little bit unfortunate because obviously Jon made it all the way through Charlton, but you never had that opportunity to make it through to Charlton. You signed scholarship, but then you had to leave.
Yeah, I got told, I think it was, can't remember, going into my third year. Jon was in the first team squad then. I think we had Danny Shitter as well. So like opportunities were going to be very slim for me. Curbsy is very honest. He said, you can stay and do another year, but you're not going to play. And it's mad because when I first got in the building, it started well. I was in the reserves, like travelling the squad. It was nice. Got injured. And Dave Collis come in, and to be fair to him, he done well. And after that,
coming as a centre back.
I think Dave always plays centre back. To be honest with you,
midfield, Collis.
You could do a bit of both.
He could do a bit of both, and I think because Danny was playing in reserves at the time, Dave was playing. No, obviously when I got injured, we didn't have another centre back. To be fair, so he dropped back in, and he done well, and then he got into reserves, and he was playing with you, and then so he got ahead of me. And I just could never make up the ground, to be honest with you.
Why is
that? That's football, mate. Like you're on top 1 minute, and if you get injured or you lose form, it's dog eat dog, isn't it? Someone's always I always say this: there's someone above that you want to take their place, but there's always about another 10 below that want to take your place. So you can never get replacement. So I might be like here, being like, I'm going to get where Jon is, but maybe I should be looking to, I want to be ahead of Jon because there's another 3 or 4 trying to get where Jon is. 100%. So to get where Jon is, they're taking my spot.
2-3 times.
Yeah.
You're worried about below you, but you need to worry about getting above him.
And I'll be honest with you, when I got injured, my mentality was just get fit, I'll get back in the team. Do you know what I mean? You don't think about, at 17, you don't think about it. You think, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to play, I'm better than all the, and as Jon said, it's like talent isn't always the be all and end all of it. You need to work. And that time when I was injured, I was never the biggest, especially for a centre back. I should have been better. I should have been working on the attributes that I didn't have, like getting size. Like I was really good in the air. I was quick. I could play, and everyone knew it. But it come up games where no matter how good you are in the air, there's no strength.
So, do you feel like you was good enough to play Prem then? Because obviously you played Championship and you played obviously Scottish Prem and that. But do you feel like in your heart, do you feel like you was good enough to play Prem?
Yeah, definitely. And I also with the Prem is overrated in that respect. You don't really know if you're going to be able to get there until you get there, right? So like I said to you earlier on, I found it easier to play Prem than I did Championship, right? So it's the other way around. It you could have many lads who are playing Championship that are better suited for the Prem. They've just not had the opportunity to get there yet. Yeah.
And that's a funny thing actually. So when I went to the Championship, I think my first 15 games, no word allowed, I was like unplayable. I was chesting the ball out the air, Cruyffing in my 18-yard box, like to the point where teams, like I went to Wolves the next summer, but I went as a right back, which is weird. They ended up signing Dennis O when I went back to Grimsby, thought it was all going to happen again. But because I was playing at a Premiership club, I didn't realise that there was such a gap. I thought Championship, this is men's football, so it's going to be different. I went in there and I just hit the ground running. But But then what I didn't think about the next season, again, it's just like not knowing, being 19 years old. Everyone was waiting for me to do all these things now. They're like, play on him. He's not going to kick it out of play. So I'm going to the byline, pretend I'm going to kick out a play to chop it back in. The guys just stood there. And I'm like, shit, what do I do now? Do you know what I mean? So it's a learning thing. But again, as I was saying, because I wasn't being coached, no one pulling me aside and saying, at 1920, look, they've gotten on to you.
So even at Grimsby, your manager, your coaches...
Lenny Lawrence was a great manager, but there weren't much coaching. And you go into a team again, and you go into a team at that age, and we're fighting for relegation. So I'll be honest with you, they ain't got no time to coach me. It's just every game, get it out, blah, blah, blah. And I remember Toddy come, actually, and that's probably what helped me. I knew Andy Todd from Charlton. So he come on loan. So I was playing next to him. So he's talking me through games. And I'm seeing him do stuff. And sometimes he's heading it out, so I'll be like, I'll head it out then. But then sometimes he's chesting it, I'll be like, okay, I'll chest it. So I'm trying to learn. But the next season he goes, and then I'm playing with another youngster who might be a year older than me. So now I'm meant to be the leader because I've got 15 games and he's only played 4. And I'm like, I don't know nothing about that. I'm just trying to get through the game.
Yeah, and that's where the leadership comes into it.
Yeah, and especially, as these guys will tell you, as a centre-back, you see everything. And you can make your game so much easier. You look at the top centre-halves, they don't do nothing. They don't get booked. They're not always doing die-hard challenges because they're talking to whoever's in front of them. Boom, boom, boom. They're running. You watch Van Dijk, he hardly even sprints.
No, he's right. I used to make people do my work for me, though. He's right. It's just
and that's the best thing about it. So, what were we talking about? I can't remember.
No, we're just talking about...
No, just keep going.
Just
rolling.
No. Your attributes at the back and struggling with getting to know when to play it and when not to play it.
No, he was saying, oh, why did Collis get in front of me? And that's basically what it was. And to be honest with you, I didn't figure that out until I was 24.
Let me tell you why I say that, because what I'm figuring out is, because obviously for what we're trying to do, we're trying to inspire the people to go for their dreams from where we're from, right? So I'm saying the reason, a lot of people believe they're good enough to make it pro.
But that's my point. So my point is, at 24, the penny dropped.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, get fit.
There's other things that I've got to do.
Like that summer, no holiday, stay up here. I was in the gym, doing the extra.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? And I was playing in Scotland. I just moved to Scotland, I think. I was there for a year and a half. And I was like, I want to come back to England. And I told my agent at the time, I said, look, get people up here because this season I'm going to do it. And I swear, just from having, and also having a pre-season, I didn't have pre-season for many a year, a good pre-season. So I got myself fit during the summer, went into pre-season, hit the ground running, done everything right. I was even eating right. I was looking after myself after games rather than going out and getting smashed. I even sacrificed like going to London a lot because I used to like fly home after games and stuff because I wanted to see the family or whatever. And I was like, this year, sacrifice all that.
I want to work hard.
And I hate to be one of the people that say, oh, if I didn't get the injury. But I remember that season, my best season probably in football.
You're on the right pathway.
And
when you focus mentally.
yeah.
What are you? Sorry, for what are you? 24 now.
25, so 24 going to 25.
Do you feel like if you had, not that you didn't have figures to guide you, but if you feel like you had the active figures to guide you to push you further on earlier?
Nah, because it was with me. I was always I knew what my weaknesses were. I knew it, but I just thought, well, I'm good enough. You know what I mean? It's gonna come through. And then that season, I remember my assistant manager come up to me because I was meant to have a hip operation at the end of the season. And it was the first time for a long time Kilmarnock could have got into to Europe through the league. And he's gone to me, look, we're not offering you a contract because there's been scouts at the last X amount of games and we know you're going to leave. So I'm like, well, I didn't want to say anything, but I know there's been interest, but nothing's on the table. He said, well, there's a contract there for you if you want it. But what I ask is, would you mind putting back your operation for 2 games and playing the next 2 games? And I was in fine form, do you know what I mean? I'm doing all the old stuff, winning headers, winning my battles, and we got up to, I remember it was Aberdeen away. And I hated that place, it's always cold. But it was the end of season, so it's actually sunny.
As opposed to the other parts of
yeah. But Aberdeen's just grey, mate. Everything's grey. So we got up there, we played a game. It's going well. I think we took 1-0 lead. I'm playing well. And I remember you know when there's something you do 1,000 times, the ball's like, say, between me and John, and I'm quick. So instead of just going like a proper 50-50 and just taking everything, I've gone, tried to lift it over the guy. He's come and just wiped out everything. Yeah. And I remember my knee just going, and I've got up, and I don't know if it's the camera anymore, and I just fell over. But I'm like, I'm in no pain. And the physio ran on and said, because you snapped everything.
Yeah, it's gone.
And it didn't even sink in until I was on the coach. So I'd gone to see the doctor the next day, surgeon, and like they're having an hour and this and that. And then the Wednesday, I remember it, because that was when the next game was meant to be. So I'm pissed because I can't play in the game, because I'm like, oh. And then the physio's taken me to the surgeon, and he's gone, you might never play again.
Oh, was it that at 24?
Yeah.
I didn't see. That's crazy about this stuff. Did you know that at that age?
I never knew that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't even know
24.
that.
How was you feeling these times?
I was 25 at the time, and he said, you might never play again. So I'm like, what else can I do? I've been playing football since I was 9 years old. I can't do anything else. And then he's gone, well, there's this thing we can try. And obviously, medical science is a lot better now. And he said it might work and it might not. So I had no cartilage, ligaments were all snapped away. So they had to drill my knee to make it bleed, to kind of hold things together. And had the first operation, didn't quite work. Had another one, I think I ended up having 3 that summer, as well as my hip. So I was like on crutches all summer. Took about 9 months to get back. Got back, was okay. But then it got to the point where I couldn't play 2 games in a season. Yeah. 2 games in a week, sorry.
Due to pain.
Yeah. So I'd play one, get cyst, I'd have to get like drained. And everyone talks about like Ledley King, but it was the same sort of thing. I could not play, I could not train. I could train maybe on a Wednesday, some light training, set pieces on a Friday, play Saturday. If there's a game Tuesday, there's a write-off. And then from 26 to the end of my career, when I ended up finishing at 31, that's what it was. I hated football.
I never knew you went through that.
Yeah, man.
I didn't know you went through that.
No, it messed me up. I can't even lie. Like, it's not something that I told everybody. Obviously, sometimes I was crying on my phone to my parents. They just moved away, so they're feeling mad guilty. They just moved to Jamaica. Yeah, it was tough, man. But I love football. I didn't think I could do anything else.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy that I got the extra years to play.
And that's what's great about stuff like this, where we get to talk and be open with each other, right? Because as young men, like I said, I class these two as some of my best friends that I've had in life, right? And I feel like I know you two for many years. I didn't know that story, you know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I didn't know that
Not
story.
everyone's just gonna open up.
Yeah,
It's just not one of them things. You know what it is? Because, especially in football, we all know footballers are going through things, isn't it? You're always going through stuff. Everyone thinks it's all rose tinted and like this life and that life, and everyone gets injured. Like, he's got injured when he was, how old were you? 16? That's your first injury, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I remember your Achilles. Yeah. So like we talk about, we know you're injured, but you just think, you don't even want to go into it, because my focus is I just need to get back. Don't matter, I just need to get back.
And also as an athlete, you don't want to put yourself
in the negative mindset.
Yeah, that mindset, like where you got to go through to be there. So like you said,
and you don't want the pity. Yeah. It's like, you know what, I'm going to get back.
In that respect. But like I said, I feel like I'm fortunate because my bad injuries come at 27, 28. Yeah. You're right. I look at yourself, and you was like 16, 17. You know what I mean? You're 24, about to go in what your prime is, what I believe my prime was, right? And
yeah, but you think you're gonna kick on at 27
when you get them. So like I said, I look at my own stuff, and I've got so much regrets, because as a centre half, like 27, 28, you're meant to be coming into your
kicking
prime.
on then, yeah.
Like, I feel like my prime was taken away from me for injuries, right? But I can be sitting here and say, you know what? I'm fortunate enough that I had them early years, right, of success. So like, it's going to hit you at different times. And I always say to someone, you might feel like you're going into your prime, but you don't know when your prime years are.
You never know.
You never know, right? So Michael Owen, his prime years was 17 to fucking 23.
18 years old.
Crazy,
you know what I mean?
18 years old.
Saying that about your prime though, John, when you came through Charlton and you was playing really well, you know, you had a core group of friends that were also like very talented and playing in the Prem, like Paolo Vanessa, Ashley Cole, who made it to the pinnacle of the sport. You know what I mean? So, and I think you lot were very close. You know what I mean? I think one day, I think you all lived in the same kind of complex at one point. But you all used to like have games, then go out together. Do you think, you know, being around those boys and like having that kind of lifestyle held you back a bit? Or do you think if you would have focused more on your career and been a little bit more selfish with yourself, you would have gone a bit further?
100%, yeah, 100% for sure, because I wasn't living right, yeah. So I was playing, I know, and we wasn't living right, yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say. No, it's true though. But you think about it.
He's right though.
Because as I'm going out, I'm like, come with me, boys, come with me.
We're right there, man. We're right there. Yeah, I want to try that one. That's what I've been waiting.
I made them drink way. I made them drink way too many drinks they shouldn't have done.
Big up Amos on this team.
Yeah.
Big up. Where's the straw?
That's true.
So you know what?
We don't need it now.
It's interesting you say that, is because I wasn't one of the most talented ones in the group, but Dad got me grafting early. So I would at that 16, 17, when I told you about my youth team manager said that to me, I would, that first summer as a YT, I went Newham Leisure
I remember
Centre.
me, you, Leo took us all down there.
I'm a sharer, right? So if I've got something going on, I'm bringing it. So I'm telling him to come. But he's athletic. He's gifted in that way. I'm not. Yeah, he's very gifted, right?
Nice.
So we'll go in Newham Leisure Centre, Macmillan, and there's a sprint coach there. Yeah. So I'm going with Fordy, Marvin, Leo, Rojet. Yeah. Like I'm telling Clayton to come. We're doing this for that whole summer. Like I've gone that summer. I'm going gym. I'm bulking up. Like I'm doing stuff that summer, So I've gone from.
And how old are you now?
I'm 16, 17, coming up to 17. 17 probably, So that summer, pre-season, the year before, I get lapped, because I'm a bad runner. I go back the next summer, I'm in the middle of the pack, So the games were massive, right? So I'm improving. So I'm doing this in most summers, So as much as I'm living like a dickhead, I'm going iron apple and enjoying my life. If I'm putting 3 weeks of work in there, I'm going Napa for 2 weeks, and then I'm going back training, so I'm getting work done, right? So I had that in me very early, and to improve, all of a sudden I got to a stage where it was 3 weeks at Newham Leisure Centre to I've played 12, 15 games that summer for the Premier League. I'll do 2 weeks.
Need more of a break, kind of. In your head, I need more of a break.
25 games. I'm more established. I'll do 1 week. You know what I mean?
Week before you going back.
Because now I deserve more of summer. And sorry, the reason why I was doing that because I'm hanging around with Ashley, Penn, and Rio, all these guys, and they're not doing nothing. They're just enjoying life. But why am I doing all this work and they're fucking not working?
Do you know they're not doing anything at all?
I'm with them. I'm in the summer. I'm with Ashley all summer.
Where do you think you would have got? Where do you think you would have got?
But again, it's the natural.
But he's naturally gifted.
He's naturally fit.
And Pennant. Them two can run all
naturally
day.
fit, though, isn't he?
I know, but I know I have to work. But then because I started getting more trappings and doing better, I started thinking I don't have to do that as much when I should have been doing more, and that's my own regret, right?
So where do you think you would have got to then if you was putting what you're supposed to put in then?
You don't know. You just
never know.
Maintain that level for longer.
What's more important then? Talent or hard work?
Hard work all day.
Hard work
all day.
Because like we said at the beginning, you get to a stage, you make it as a professional athlete. Every single person's got talent, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's got talent.
You have to have talent to get there.
Everyone's got talent.
Yeah, some type of you have to have talent.
Because you know, like sometimes people watch TV and be like, "Oh, he's so shit. He ain't listening," but he's got something to get there.
What's the worst club you played for? I went to where's the worst club been? Dagenham Redbridge.
Yeah. Not the worst club, but yeah.
No, the worst.
No, that's the worst teams we play for.
Everyone at Dagenham Redbridge had talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying
where the decision making might be bad,
awful,
effort might be bad, but talent-wise, most people have got talent, right?
Because they all come from different clubs. So I'm sure they all.
So that's what I'm saying. You look at the worst teams you probably played for. Yeah. When you talk about talent, people have got talent,
and mentality. Because I know a lot of players that are amazing in training but can't produce the goods in the game. So the mentality gets hold of a lot of people.
When you say mentality,
and I feel that's what they do more. They've got like the sports science and like the coaches for the mental side of the game now, and I think that helps a lot because it prepares you for the big stage.
When you say mentality, do you mean what in regards to listening and following instructions? Do you think how important do you think that is in terms of
following the right instructions? And I think being able to absorb things, as we said about Izzy before, that's super important. Super important.
Because a lot of players, they don't get there because.
But sometimes it's not the attitude though. Sometimes people just freeze on the big stage.
But how do you get rid of that?
So let me put it in your world then, yeah? So you'll have, I'm sure you've got people that are very good in the studio, yeah? You put them live on stage, they're not as great.
Yeah. Or you got people that are in the studio that do the shit, but they're not good when there are other people in the studio.
Yeah, so you think about the new generation, say artists, how many of them could go to a radio station and just be a mic with, do you know what I mean? But you think about the MCs we know coming up, that was their bread and butter. That's how they refine their skills. Yeah.
When you put it into different avenues, that's the
So
truth.
we'll have players that we all know that are brilliant in the training ground. Like training players, right?
Yeah,
we call them.
so many.
But you turn up match day and they're not the same person. The effect of the crowd, the pressure.
If it don't start well for them.
Knowing that they're not the best on the pitch at the minute.
No, they're probably the best.
They're probably the best players on the pitch, but
they just can't perform in that
Does
spotlight.
that make you the best player if you can't perform?
No, but when the cameras are on.
Does that make you the best?
And then when you're playing in front of big fans and some people just cry.
But not the best. But guess
That
what?
can't make you the best, man.
Guess what? They're
If you can't
probably
perform, you're not the best.
Ability-wise, though.
apparently, when you talk about talent, they're probably the most talented, right?
Yeah, ability-wise.
But
Unbelievable.
when the spotlight's on, can they
To me,
produce?
I'm more about facts. Like, if you're not the best when you need to be the best, you're not the best.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, you can't be the best behind closed doors, man.
But that's the reason why you see a lot of, like, everyone says, oh, how come such and such didn't make it? I see him do all this, but that's all right, doing it at Power League or whatever, or Sunday League, or
me and John talk about that a lot.
or even non-league. No disrespect to non-league, because there's some very good non-league players, but like it's easy doing it in front of like 200 people
When you're comfortable.
and they're not giving you shit.
You're the best when
But
you're
how you go into a away game and like everyone's on you, ain't kicked the ball, they're booing you, they're telling you shit.
That's comfort.
Or,
Do you know what I
even
mean?
like comfort when you know you're the best player on the pitch, right?
Yeah.
When you're the most talented person on the pitch. But what about when you've got to face people that are just as good as you, if not better?
If not better, yeah.
How do you solve that?
Find a way, finding a way.
Yeah, but even being the best on the pitch, I feel like to be the best on the pitch, you've got to show it 10 times out of 10. To be the best on the pitch. If you're the best on the pitch and you're playing against people that are not your standard, you're supposed to stand out 10 times out of 10. I don't feel like there should be a reason why you're not the best on the pitch.
But it depends what people are looking for though, right? Because some people think the standout player is the guy that beats 7 players and puts in, but some people don't rate like the likes of, I don't know, the Jordan Hendersons, because he's not pinging balls here, he's not pinging balls there, but you don't see his value for the team. He allows other players to do things.
I feel like everyone does see his value for the team.
I know, I'm just using that example. For years they didn't, do you know what I mean? But they're not going to say he's the best player on the team, but he might be the glue that holds that team to allow other people. And sometimes that's important. We probably all play with players that you don't think is the best player, but you love to play with them because you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But I was trying to get somewhere with with the boys you used to hang around, you going out, right? Because obviously you like transitioning over now with your agency, Two-Touch Agency, like with your boys and with the players you have, obviously with your experience, you would give them a different advice than what you went through.
Yeah.
But I remember like you lot used to be out a lot, drinking a lot. You know what I mean? So
Because he was there.
Because you're on this mic.
Listen,
Don't try to...
I wasn't going to let him do it.
You weren't there for your downfall.
He was on the table. He was on the table over the side.
Don't do that.
I'm
Don't
asking
do
you.
that.
I wasn't there that
I think
much.
he's forgotten to say that, John. I've got
So
a
remember,
invite.
you know what out drinking and you know.
Listen. No. I wasn't there that much though.
You
Like,
there,
know what?
you
You,
there.
it was a different level.
Yeah.
Man. Them man were on a different level. I couldn't keep up with them, man.
What would you tell the people that you're
Nah, them man was on a different
right there?
level.
right over there? Everything okay? Was that supposed to happen or?
Got over time.
Now,
Budget's
be
gone.
honest though, like you trained hard, but you played hard.
So I've actually got. Funny if you said that, I was addicted with Roger. I knocked around with the older boys as well.
That's
so
what I was just
I
about
had
to
one
say,
summer.
though.
I got a tattoo on my arm. I've still got it now. Obviously, work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
Because I was putting the work in the summer, but as soon as that work was done, I was going out and partying, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I lived my life. But the crazy part about living my life that way is it worked for me that particular time, like to go through the levels when I was a young man. But they got to a stage where I needed to stop living that way.
What do you mean it worked for you? What do you mean by that?
If it's working, body
My
can
body
take
was
it.
young, I could handle it. I was my ego as a young man was craving.
It needed. You felt like it was gave you peace of
So,
mind.
so I talk about when I sit down with young talent now. You've got to, if you've got to be true to yourself and find what makes you tick, right? All of us have got different things that make us tick. So for you to make it might be to get your mum a new house. You know what I mean? It might be for you to make it might be something completely different. For me to make it, what was ticking me at that particular time was, as a young man going Napa and seeing Rio and Lance and Ash and seeing them boys succeed and being out and seeing people recognise them, you know what I mean? And the love, I was like, oh, when first year Napa and seeing them with a mobile phone, I was like, oh, when I come back to Napa, I want to be like them, like them, and they were like they're famous, you know what I mean? I want that, so I would go back to the lab and I'll be working to get. So when I go back to Napa, like, or when I go on a night out, people will know me. That worked for me as a young man. You know what I mean? And
That's
then
your
I got to that
motivation,
stage where people started recognizing me and I was that guy. But now I didn't set a new goal. You know what I mean? Looking back,
the next kick on,
the next one, right? So I got to that goal, then you got to reset things again. And I spoke to Rio about this because Rio was a party boy, right?
Yeah.
And Ash was a party boy, and John Terry was a party boy, and Lenny was a party boy.
Era.
But that was the culture of football.
There's a
You think
culture,
at the
so
time.
all
You remember,
my-
like,
all
you're
my-
doing better than the older footballers that
So
were like
all my friends are doing
having
it.
beers
Yeah?
on the coach on the way home.
So people have been successful doing this. So it ain't like, oh, what I'm doing is wrong, because there's success following this way, right? But you don't know what them guys are doing away from when you're with them. Yeah, you know what I mean. So say for instance, John Terry. Now I now know that when we went out on that night and we're drinking or whatever, he would wake up and go for a run. You know what I mean? Ashley Cole, because I'm around him and living with him. If we went out Saturday night, we're cubing all the spots there. All of a sudden, I train on Monday. We train on Tuesday. I'm on the settee fucking shivering because my body's still recovering. I switch the TV on. Ashley Cole's playing against Borussia Dortmund, Champions League, up and down, man of the match. On the phone, John, where we going tonight? I'm just recovered.
He could just do it though.
His body's different from mine, right? He understood. It took
no
me a
weight,
while
though,
to understand
all
my
that.
body, and my body wasn't. I couldn't go down that way. I couldn't recover the same way as them. So yeah, ideally, I was on the right path as a young man in terms of doing my extras with my athletics and my gym stuff and bulking up, but I got derailed from that.
That's the thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you get
so what
there,
I needed to do was at some stage think, all right, I need to carry on and doing this. And I think if I would have carried on doing that, I would have been more successful for sure. But I never had that awareness or mentality to work it out at that age.
Let me ask you a question: when you got injured, you done your knee, probably the first or second time, I can't remember. Do you think you had the support to get yourself back? You know what I mean? Because I know we make jokes about you was out sometimes you weren't. But I feel like, do you think you had the support to get yourself back to where you needed to be, or just to give yourself the best chance to get back?
Definitely not, because I don't think they realised how serious the injury was.
Again, this time.
When you say support, who are you talking about
From the club.
From the club, yeah. So I was training with the first team at Christmas. Like, I was 16, and I was in and around the first team, and my knee just went. It just locked. But it unlocked again. I was like, oh wow, that didn't feel good. Like, but
never.
Yeah, so
get on with it, innit, niggles.
Yeah, we played a game under 19 games, and like Tony rested me, and like, he put me on for the last 5 minutes just to just mess about, get on. Game's finished. I kicked the ball, my leg locked again, but this time won't unlock. So like they just thought it was a cartilage. Went into the doctor on a Monday. Being at a pro club, you get seen quick. Like, I was injured Saturday. By Monday, I was having the operation. Had the operation, doctor was so nonchalant. He was like, oh, I removed your cartilage. This time I don't know what he's talking about. I'm like, okay. So I'm just thinking, okay, I'm gonna get back. But I see the look on my physio's face. It's like,
why?
Yeah, like, why did you just remove the whole cartilage? Like, but he was a little bit nervous. But so anyway, the doctor was just, I had to remove the whole meniscus on the lateral side. This time I'm thinking, all right, cool, I'll be out 2 months, whatever. So my physio tried to talk to me, goes, it's quite serious. Like, if you remove the whole cartilage, you've just got bone on bone. But as a kid, you don't really take it in.
You wouldn't understand, would you?
You don't really understand as soon as it happens. Like, you know what I mean? I had no one there, no parent there to guide me. I know the physio was there, but he just kind of, had like a week off on crutches, and I went in, so I was training, trying to get back, reduce the swelling. Bro, I was out for 2 years with that operation.
Yeah.
By that time, Glenn Johnson came through, Anton Ferdinand came through, and like you said, did I have the support? I didn't have the support because they didn't realise, how serious the injury was.
Yeah.
So they just thought, oh, he's just in the physio room. He doesn't want to be out there.
That's a lot of people feel. I hated that mentality. I hated that.
If you're in the physio room, they think you want to be there. They don't realise that's the worst place to be.
But it's the chat. It's that mentality, wasn't it? They used to be like, it's like they'd goad you to get you out there.
But that burns you inside because you're the only one there. You have to come in early. You have to leave late.
Yeah.
It's a long day, innit?
It's probably hard to come in early.
That must, like I said, I was.
You got to train probably just as hard.
Harder. You train harder.
Harder. Not just as harder.
For you, you're doing exercises all day and squats and
getting over serious injuries. Is
mentally.
the hardest thing you can do.
Mentally, it's so tough. Because you feel isolated as well, don't you? All the lads are out, and and then they come back in. You have a little lunch with them, and they're going home, but you've got another session.
Yeah, like I said, I had that battle at 27, 28. Yeah, you had that at 24. Like to do that at your age, with no understanding. And what I learned through the physios and that, and friends that they were telling me, John, you can't drink alcohol as much.
Yeah, you can't because it slows up your recovery.
You're older, right? And I've got missus now. I'm not going out as much as I used to, so that's okay for me, right? But having it when you were,
I didn't have anyone at home, so by that because I was
you're out partying with us, right? So that's slowing down your recovery as well.
But no one's. That's what I'm saying. No one's telling you the right and wrong things to do.
Is like what you're doing. Don't go out. You know what I mean? I was like a young prodigy. I had my own place at a young age, so I was going home at 17.
Got good money
by myself. I was just at home, just by a computer. So I had nothing to do but to go out. You know what I mean? I finished training. I'm like, anyone gave me a call. Here's what you doing. That phone call was just waiting for that phone call.
But guess what? You're out in a nightclub. You're standing up. You're drinking what's going to swell your leg anyway. Your knees swelling, but you're standing up for all the hours.
It's not helping. It's not helping.
Yeah, so I didn't help myself in that aspect, to be honest.
Yeah, but you say you didn't help us, so you didn't know any better. That's the difference. That's why I say the support.
That's what it comes down to, innit? Not knowing, not like experience, innit? It's about experience, innit?
Definitely.
What advice would you give to like somebody that you're working with or someone that you're working with? Like, what advice would you give to actually realize your potential? When you say to make it, I'll say to realize your potential because it's a difference.
It's people ask me, would you do it different? I definitely would do it differently. Like knowing what I know now, like you know what I mean. I wouldn't have gone out as much. Like I'd put more. Like John said, he was training. He was doing a pre-season. You know what I mean. I would have done a lot more training, put in a lot more time into because this is my career.
It's not guaranteed.
Invest in yourself, right?
You have to invest in yourself.
It's not guaranteed.
Yeah, because if you don't invest in yourself, like there's other people who's putting in the work. If you're not putting it, they're passing you. So like that's the most important thing, to invest in yourself.
I feel that all three of us have said the same thing.
No one's trying to tell you not to go out and enjoy yourself.
You talk to any footballer, you talk to any professional footballer, anyone that's been professional, they all say the same thing. They all say, I should have worked harder. Yeah. It's very rare to find someone that said they worked as hard as they could.
Yeah,
it's very, very rare.
But you see someone like LeBron James who's at the top of his game. When you hear he invests 1.5 million in just training his body,
himself,
health,
health. Like, it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? That's why he's still 37 and playing at the top level. You know what I mean? So like, if we could just even pay for personal trainers off season, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with investing in yourself.
Yeah, it weren't really heard of back then, though, was it?
I say don't try and get everything for free, because that's what these footballers think. You know what I mean? Just because they're who they are, people should do things for them for free. No, people are trying to do their work as well. You know what I mean? I know there's is it Mark Finley who works with your company?
Yeah, big up Mark and Steve. Big up Steve and Mark.
Yeah, both. They're great trainers and that. People like that, they help you. They're only gonna help you develop. Go to them off season. Get better of what you're not good at. Improve. Yeah. I mean, my long distance was terrible. I should have been at the. I remember getting
should have run with me. I remember me and my dad.
I nearly passed out, bro. Hey, listen.
I remember him starting though. I don't know where we
went Wanstead Flats. Yeah, this is me pre-season. I'm gonna do it this year. I thought, okay, Simon's called me. Goes, I'm going for a run. My dad, I'll come over. Went over now. Went Wanstead. Get in the car. Go Wanstead. So we started. 5 minutes later, Henry and Fordy are gone. I'm struggling because I'm a sprinter. And Fordy could run all day, and I realised that's where he gets it from his dad. And like, Henry could run. Them two just left me like 10 minutes. I'm trying to keep up. 15 minutes, I've lost them now. I don't know. This is what's I'm lost. Like, I don't know where I'm going. Like, you know what I mean? So I just turn around and head back to where I was.
Back to the car.
you back at the start. I beat you.
See you at the car.
No, that's he had that luck. I think that's why he kind of didn't put it in as much, because he knew he had talent. He could run all day, and like maybe he didn't work on the strength part of his game and things like that. You know what I mean? There's loads of things we could all work on. And if I could give advice to the kids now, like John said, is invest in yourself. It's important.
But we know you can always improve in every aspect, innit? Like, you're never all the way at the top, innit?
No, of course not.
So work out for me. Work out what your super strengths are. Improving them, because that's what defines you, right?
Your best attribute.
That's your best attribute. That makes you stand out in front of everyone through all the years you come through. But then, can you bring your weaknesses up to par?
What do you? That's a good question. Then, what do you think is more important than strengthening your strengths or strengthening your weaknesses?
I would say strengthen your weaknesses, but it can go. It's a preference, right?
Do you reckon?
No, I agree, because if you think about what's happened recently, the likes of, say, Aguero, sad that he had to retire, but he was a natural finisher, could score for fun, but he wasn't the fittest. He didn't want to do the channel running, all that, and then the game developed, and it was a little too late for him to get with that, and it ended up costing him his place at Man City. Do you know what I mean? But if he worked on, I know it's a thing. No, but in the finishing terms, he's the best finisher in the league. Probably one of the best the Premiership's ever seen. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And he could still play for a lot of teams now.
But he said we'll take him from where we're from and who we're about, right? Yeah. So you've got us that had influence on each other in different ways, yeah, for our lives, good and bad, yeah. And you've got someone like who grew up in the same area of us, done the same thing as Jermaine's probably the most professional athlete 100%. I know.
Unbelievable.
Always been.
Yeah.
So dedicated to his craft from early. Yeah. And like you said, people say they're a product of their environment. His environment is what our environment is. Yeah. But the boy managed to navigate a system that was set up to make him foul, right?
But so did you. So did you, and so did you.
Yeah, no, but he
done it completely different though.
Yeah,
you know, and big
like you took an influence from even going out and being in the nightlife culture. Yeah, you would have had an influence on Jermaine, right? Because he's at West Ham with you, but he was able to just say
to switch that off.
That's not for me. You know what I mean?
He was very single-minded,
very
and
focused.
That's probably big up to his mum and you know what I mean, and his dad Andre and his mum Sandra, sorry, and because, like John said, from a young age, Jem doesn't drink, right? Doesn't drink alcohol at all. Like, you know, he would come out with us, but he would just be on water. You know what I mean? So he just had that from. He would see all of us. We're going out, we're having a drink, we're like, you know, laughing, having fun. He will have fun with us, but he just wouldn't drink. He'll drive home. Yeah. He just had that single-mindedness that, you know what I mean. He was always going to be professional. He's
playing professionally now.
Yeah.
And he's still dedicated,
and that's why. And that's why.
40 years old, he's still like
still sharp.
I was done at 33. What age was you done?
31.
And he's a striker. He's not even a centre back. You're not like.
But the thing is, like, you think about, that's what I said, that you didn't like the Aguero comparison, but Jermaine trains all the time. But when you look at his game, he's not running channels and stuff. He's in the box scoring goals. But he knows if he has to. That's what keeps his sharpness. What keeps he could have just been like, I'm a goal scorer and there's not many better than me in the box at finishing, so that's all I need to do. But he's showing them all the time, I can do everything you want me to do. I'm strong, I'm quick, I'm still sharp, don't matter how old I am. And that's what keeps you in the game. And that's because he's working on his weaknesses and strengthening his strengths. So that's why I say hard work's always gonna propel you to that level. There's no top player, no matter how gifted they are, that hasn't worked hard to stay where they are.
I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. But before we,
I agree with that.
Before we move on, I just wanted to ask, you know, both of you about. You said you finish at what, 31?
31.
32, 33.
32, 33, and you finish at 31. So, you know, once you finish the transitioning from football to real life, I kind of wanted to get to that because a lot of footballers struggle once they finish. You know, they struggle with mental health issues and a lot of them really fall, you know what I mean? And You know,
I was there.
Because you never even, sometimes you never really realise you're going to stop football. You always feel
you
that's
don't
part of it.
realise,
You think that's
yeah.
just going to last forever, innit? A lot of these kids probably think it will last forever.
Yeah, and you don't have an outlet. You don't know what you're gonna do next. Because football's not the real world. Like, people don't understand. It's not the real world.
0.04 or something.
It's very far from the
till
real
you
world.
finish and you kind of have to go into the real world and you realise, like, raw, like, you know what I mean? I was lucky, like, you know what I mean?
Well, even like I do. So I remember someone saying that you would have had it at every stage, where every team, every youth team, they would say only 1 or 2 of you is going to make it. Only 1 or 2 of you is going to make it, and then like, them numbers really add up, right? If you look back at an old picture.
Yeah,
if you used to look back at your Senrab picture, and you from under 14s, one person. You look at your Newham one, like one person. Like apart from your youth team picture, because you had a fantastic group, right? You had a ridiculous group, right? But when generally it is 1 or 2, like the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? I know you like pretty well, and I know, you know what I mean, Jon as well. So, but you still have a little bit of a different, you know, ending. But when you had to finish and you couldn't play anymore, I remember you coming back to London and like not knowing like what to do. Like, do you want to? Like, you know,
I can't lie. I was really struggling. I remember I went to Grimsby after leaving Chesterfield, and it was non-league, and I just hated it. And it was full time at the time, so I used to enjoy training. I loved being around the lads, but it got to the point where I knew it would be harder and harder for me to get a contract, not being able to train, only be able to play once a week. So I took it myself and thought, you know what, 31, I might have been 32. Pack it now and try and find something else rather than ride it out for another 3 years. And it's even harder at 35, 36. And I come back to London, staying with our good friend Carter for a bit, just to find my bearings back, because it's weird. I've not been around. My parents had gone to Jamaica. My brother was in South, but East is what I know, so I needed to be here. Remember coming back, and I can't lie, you would never thought that I didn't have a club. I was happy. I was out all the time, like out on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, whenever. Just loved the freedom, not training, not doing anything. And then it got to the point where I thought, bank account's getting lower.
So
either I've got to do something or go back and study something. And it's funny, I went to a barbecue. You were there in Emma Hempstead, remember? When we done the running, the baseball.
Oh, yeah.
So Carter introduced me to a girl, and she worked for an agency. And we got talking. She went, what are you doing? I said, I used to play football. I got no real qualifications, no job experience. I have no idea what I can do. And she went, I can get you a job at TFL on a temporary basis. See how you go. I was a bit apprehensive, but I thought, you know what, why not? She said, all right, be ready. Here's my number. A couple of weeks, I'll call you. I'll sort it out. You won't even need an interview. So I was like, oh, okay, wicked. So it's funny, I remember turning up nervous as hell. But my dad was over that summer, actually. So we'd done the journey, because I wasn't even used to the trains then. Got to Baker Street. He went, this is where you're going to be for the Sunday. So the Monday, go in, put my suit, all that. Never been in the office before, so I'm thinking, this is an interview, I've got to meet the manager, whatever. Gone in, I'm seeing everybody, they're just in like their polos, jeans, whatever. I'm all suited and booted, thinking, this is some like tie clip and that, do you know what I mean? Wash bag, think I got that. So I go in, and they're going, oh, okay, this is your workstation. This is who's going to be training you. And then that was it. So I'm like, oh. I get trained. It was like a 3-month temporary contract. And I'm working, I'm going through the motions. Like, I've never typed. I don't know how to type. Like, I'm embarrassed. Like, they're trying to...
No, this is real.
And that's what I'm saying, but I'm being honest with you. I'm embarrassed. So they're saying, oh, type this things. And even, I'll be honest, like, even my spelling's not the greatest. Like, there's certain... Because I don't read very rarely. So I'm doing stuff, and I'm, like, typing. And I can see... No one's looking at me, but in my head, everybody's looking at me. Do you know what I mean? She's training me, and she's like, oh, yeah, do this and do that. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like nervous doing it. And then I even got to the point where I said, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I might be better if you just show me what to do and then leave me for a bit and let me get into it. And slowly but surely, I remember going home and did I have a laptop? I can't remember if I have a laptop or iPad, but usually I just used it to watch movies or whatever. And I had to, I'll be honest with you, I had to practice. I had to practice using where the keys were, where the things were. And it was one of the hardest things I ever done in my life because it was so unnatural. Like I'm used to using my feet. Like my hands are just, do you know what I mean, for holding drinks. Paying. But
That's not lyric.
Too much and always 40. Big up Kane. That's where Kane's lyric comes from.
No, but so I'll be honest with you, like throughout the whole football career, whatever, that was the hardest 3 months because I'm going into work and I'm nervous. Like the man just calling me, I'm like, my heart's beating. They just want to say, oh, how are you getting on, blah, blah, blah. People are watching over and it was an individual job, but it was also a group. So being a team player, I feel like, oh, I'm not quick enough, I'm not this, I'm letting the team down.
You're not one of the best in your group.
Yeah. So it's funny. And then got to the end of the contract and I think there was like 5 temps. And my manager told me this after. She went, I asked all the staff, because they could only keep one, who they'd want to keep. And everyone said me. So I was like,
take them out for a drink.
Nah. but to go back in the story, what I needed to learn, is the workplace etiquette.
Yeah.
Because I'm going into the office, so I made a couple friends now.
Of course.
But I'm saying some outrageous stuff. But in the change room, this is fine. This is like you're my friend, you know what I mean? Like I think one guy come in with some baggy jeans and stuff, and I was like, "Woo, boot cuts, boy!" Like, and he's like, and my man just like, "You can't."
Yeah, it's not.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm saying things, and I just don't. But that's my term of endearment. That means I like you because I'm coming for you, that kind of. Come for me, but. Some of them are smiling and some of them are looking like, oh, this is
different.
So to learn, like I had to reinvent my whole self.
Yeah.
My whole self. And like I said, that 3 months opened my eyes up to the real world. And the thing is, for what I was earning at the time, that's probably the hardest I've had to work for the least amount of money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm even just talking in that 3 months, how
YTS.
Like, yeah, proper YTS. Yeah, so and luckily because I'm quite a likable person and people person, I got a contract for a year, went for an interview, got it permanently. And since then, I've risen up the ladder. But even to this day, like sometimes I'm there and I'm behind my computer, and my role now is a supervisor, so it's good. I can just be with the people. I don't really have to be around the computer. I get the best out of people, and I love doing that. But at the same time, sometimes I go in and I log in on a Monday, and I won't lie to you. I just like I think back and I think, oh. Different boys, 10 o'clock. I remember being in the change room with the boys, chatting shit, whatever, or you're going out and kicking a ball, and then wintertime, it was hard enough when you play football, getting out of bed to go and do something you loved.
Yeah, very true.
And then now, I'm like, I'm getting up 4 hours earlier than I did then. I'm thinking, I don't even love this job. But I have no choice but to do it. And that's where, if I could do it all again, barring the football, barring the injury, barring not going in for that tackle, when I was injured, I would have done something more productive with my time to maybe do something or prepare myself for something, to do something after. And that would be my advice to the youngsters now. We get so much time as footballers. Don't waste it. That's the realest thing.
I appreciate that story, man. I was like, I mean,
don't inspire me,
John.
I
think even
question.
because even with you, for me, I think it would have been very hard as well because you got to the top, like so.
Calm down's big.
Yeah, the calm down's even bigger. So people, I don't know what people would have expected from you, but it must have been a shock when you like you said, you ended up at Dagenham and Redbridge, and you're like, how many games did you play? Maybe 1 or 2?
Probably about 3. That was it.
So how did you just end then?
But it's my one wasn't a get injured one day and then you're done tomorrow, right? It was a gradual. done the Achilles, snapped it 2 years later. In them times I play in Championship, then I go League One, snap it in League One, come out of that a year later, then I go Exeter, play probably about 15 games, then I go to Barnet, probably play about 15 games, then I go Dagenham, play 3 games, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this no more. And I remember very clearly when I knew I didn't want to do it no more, is my missus was pregnant with Chase. I'm in the hospital with Chase. My missus having birth, and normally you got a game, you kind of the birth, and you I've got to get off to the game, right? I was like, I'm not going to the game.
Wow.
Yeah. I found out I'm not coming in, and missus in hospital giving birth.
Yeah.
But she had given birth already, but I just didn't want to leave to go to the game. And then I come out, and then I tried to play a couple of games. I was just like, I don't want to do this no more. I'm like, I don't enjoy this no more. Like the fun aspect of football has gone for me. Yeah, and then I remember going Dagenham with Warren Hackett, who's a family friend, and a guy called Wayne Burnett. And he said, look, he goes, they were my pals that were managers now, and they were saying, look, John, we can give you something. It was going to be nonsense, some crap money or whatever, but like just come in, help the next generation. You've got your pals here as managers, like just be around us. And what do you want to do? Do you want to coach? Do you want to do the agency stuff? And I was like, well, I want to do the agency stuff because Sky Andrews was my agent, and he always said like, come in and work with me. So I told him that I was looking at that, and it was the first time I've been on holiday just prior to that, where I had a meeting with Wayne probably when I got back from holiday on Monday to find out what I wanted to do. During that holiday, I was with Botan, Stuart Douglas and our families, and it's the first summer, the whole summer, I had not been in a gym or gone for a run. I'd just not done nothing. And I was just like, I just knew that fire had gone.
Yeah.
So I sat down with Wayne and I just said, look, I appreciate you wanting to keep me and offer me money. I think it was like, probably about, this is how stupid I was at the time, right? But my heart had gone from the game. I think he probably offered me about £500 a week. Yeah. Which to me felt like crap money at the time because of where I've been. But in reality,
that's very, very
in the real world.
No, in the real world,
standard.
Yeah, but in the real world, in the real world, it's good money, right? So I was like, wait, I appreciate it. Like I appreciate money, but I ain't got the passion for this no more. Thanks, but I'm saying thanks to £500 a week with not having
anything else.
Nothing else. So I'm saying no to this without anything else there. I just don't want to do this no more. You know what I mean? And I said I stepped away, and that's me being naive and stupid. I had fantastic people around me, like I said, my dad, my uncle, Warren, all ex-players that have been through it, and then telling me if there's an offer, take it, because it's not easy to make money in the real world. But in waking up and going training was just not fun for me no more.
Lost that fire.
And the crazy part about it, like I said, I had a bit of savings from what I'd done, so I was okay. And the blessing I had at that particular time is that I had my little son, and then 11 months later I had a little girl. So the whirlwind of my family life for 2.5 years was bonkers, right? Because it was like I had twins. So I'm at home every day, I ain't got a job to go to, so I can't tell the missus I've got to go, but I'm involved in day-to-day bringing up the kids every day, and it got me through that.
It was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, it's taken over, innit?
A year or two where you can become depressed by not going somewhere, you know what I mean? And then I realised, like I said, I had Sky Andrews, who was my agent, he had an office round the corner in South Woodford, so I would pop in and try and educate myself about the game and how to get involved and how I can play a role within this. But but it was only 5 minutes away from my house. So I could go home and help her and dart in and dart out. So it gave me a period of time just to forget about everything in life, and just the whirlwind of bringing up kids that, as you guys know, it is crazy, right? So it got me through that, I believe, is that tough period.
Yeah, the first 2 years, definitely.
And then the scary part, like you said, of being back in that environment, yeah? So I went to Clayton, we done a level 2 coaching course. So I'm cool on the grass, right? I'm a practical coach.
I've done mine as well.
I'm doing my stuff, but I guess right, there's a classroom side to it, isn't there? So now I'm back in that environment, right? Where you got to write notes and you got to do stuff, and I ain't been here since I left school at 16, and I'm back in here and I'm like, Looking at
Looking at Clayton's like, nah.
I'm moving the seat closer to people.
Clayton's a rebel, you know what I mean?
Clayton shouting you like that.
I'm finding a way of getting people to do my
know you're
work
gonna be better.
again because I put myself in that environment
Love
what
you,
scared
Craig.
the living daylight out of me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So that's the reason why I first didn't go into coaching, because being around Jason, you at Charlton, like coaches every day have to fill out forms
So
and
much,
like this
innit?
and
Yeah.
like that, and that scared the life
The
out of me.
pre-planning
So,
and all that.
like I said, with Sky and with the agency, there was a way that I could influence people and play a role in this game where it wasn't in front of a computer or writing stuff down, which was my fear. You know what I mean? So they said I feel what you said there about that fear and conquering that is tough, man. What the people have told me is that you excel in different ways, right? So you have to understand who you are and what you struggle with, but what you excel in, right? Because life's a puzzle, right? So if you're not very good at something else, you find other ways of being good at somewhere else. So that's.
But you're good with your words. You're good at talking to people. You're reassuring people. Like, do you know what I mean?
So you find different avenues, and that's the scary part of working things out.
That you didn't have to worry about before.
Yeah, but I'm talking about from the time I left school, I was like, I'm
They
not
won't look
writing-
at another
I'm
book
not
again.
writing anything in my life again. You know what I mean?
No contract,
Yeah.
no worry about nothing. No, I just wanted to end it on I wanted to say a thing. I want people to know that there's a lot we didn't touch on. You know, like actually the actual
There's
professional
more.
days,
There's more.
There's a lot, but I want you to know that John and Fordy, they're gonna be coming on as and when they please. So I want everyone to know that they can. This is family. This is like family. Right? So I want people to know that reach out. Like there's things that people can talk about. There's things that we have to go through, and these people really, like, to me personally, these are like inspirations to me, because like there's things that they've managed to block out, because we're all going through the same thing. We're all going through the same thing. We're all around the same thing. We're all experiencing the same thing. And they've managed to block things out and get to where they need to get to. And even to get to the level that they've got to means that they've had to put in a certain amount of effort and hard work and block out a certain amount of things. So I just want people to understand that coming from where we come from, you have to put it all in to get to where you want to get to. And you
Yeah,
have
but
to
that goes.
focus.
That applies for you as well.
As well as,
With what you're doing, do you know what I mean?
100%, 100%.
It's not just because the football thing. That's what I want a lot of people to get. It's not just football or music that we can do. There's so much other things that we can do.
Yeah, 100%.
And we got to believe in ourselves, but we got to work hard to get there.
100%.
And we didn't. Dee asked a question, and I think I don't know if we answered it, but John didn't answer it. Is the hardest player you've ever played against?
No, wait, save that one, man.
I asked him though.
But I know his answer.
Yeah, but when we want to hear it.
It has to be Henry. It can't be anyone else but Henry.
How you answered?
What do you mean? It has to be Henry. It can't be anyone else. You played with Invincibles, bro.
It's the best player you played it for.
No, he played against and with.
That's what he said. He said Scotty Parker.
Who have you played?
Oh, is that you played with?
He said Scotty Parker.
Yeah, but was that being recorded?
No, Scott.
Yeah.
We're still recording.
It's
But
Scott Parker,
I'm gonna
wasn't it?
save that, but it has to be Henry.
Scott Parker.
Yeah, Henry. So it was.
Don't say Henry because
like I said,
No, what do you mean?
that Invincible team was
World
special,
Cup,
right?
yeah.
of course.
They were invincible. But way I explain it is that Henry was the X factor on them, right?
Okay.
He was the special one out of that. Obviously, Bergkamp,
Yeah.
Sol, Ash, they're tremendous players all the way through. But he was something different.
Yeah.
He was something different.
Every time you come up against him.
Yeah, he was special.
Because
He was
consistency,
special, yeah.
that's-
so
that's
he said,
what-
look, Hall of Fame got announced the other day.
Yeah.
His first ballot in there, him and Alan Shearer. So I think our generation and people looking at the Premier League now will say he's probably the best to ever do it in the Premier League, one of the best to ever do it in the Premier League. So as
Changed
much as it's tough and you got the goal and you got the banter about it, but whatever. From my point of view, to say you competed against
You can only have the battle if you're there.
yeah, to say you competed against one of the best to ever do something.
I would say the best of all time in the Premier League, me personally. And he should have won the Ballon d'Or that year.
So that's where I can look at it. People will say, like, you got different ways. So maybe Cristiano Ronaldo is the best to ever play in the Premier League in terms of what he's achieved. Yeah, but in that period of time, how good Henry was.
Yeah.
And the arrogance and the class.
Who do
about
you
him
think?
was
You think
special.
Ronaldo, yeah?
No.
Oh.
Can't be Ronaldo. Can't be.
Ronaldo did it for what? 2 seasons, I think, at the top.
I think a lot of us see what the Madrid
you
thing
remember,
is.
Ronaldo done what they
you remember Richard Rufus, innit? Yeah. So Richard was fast, right?
Rapid.
So we were playing Arsenal, and Henry's gone over the top, burnt out Richard Rufus, yeah, and Richard's our fast one. He's our fastest, yeah, and he's burnt Richard out. slipped the goal in, and he's come back and he's celebrating, and he's gone to he walked past Richard, and he ain't gonna try to do the accent, but he goes, sorry, I didn't get much sleep last night.
Easy.
I was just like, oh, but I'm here. I'm like,
It's the arrogance.
I'm
I love
like,
it. You gotta love it
you
though.
You just done that to Richard. He's our fast one.
I know.
He don't even know that. He don't even know Richard's the
probably
fast
came
one.
back
He probably thinks
you probably
he's
came back
slow.
Rufus.
No, but he's our fastest player.
Yeah.
And you just destroyed
That's
him. for pace,
demoralising
like,
though,
you know
for
what I mean? So
pace.
that's where you say that puzzle of working out different things.
There's nothing to work at.
Yeah, you know, to work out.
You can't defend that.
Yeah. So like you said, he was special, mate, for sure.
But no, Road to Wembley. Let me brother.
Appreciate you for coming, guys.
Thank you for having us, man.
They're gonna get used to them because they're gonna be on there. They're gonna come on if, like I said,
Thanks for having us,
if
man.
and when they please,
pleasure.
man.
It's a wrap, mate. It's a
Episode
wrap,
2.
lovely.
Two-touch agency. You lot are lucky I weren't even acting up today, bro. Two-touch.
You need to start acting up, man.
Yeah, I know, but I was just trying to keep it kosher.
First one.
Yeah, first one. Trying to keep it kosher. They got Amos's thing. They gave up.
Yeah, Mosh. This one's nice as
Big
well. I
Slush,
can't remember what
Big
this one's
Slush as
called.
well.
Loads of
Cherry rum.
Yeah,
We ain't even got
rum.
into what
Shot
people
40
that-
finished it. Look, everyone else is gonna
cool.
go.
Oh, you went with the finish line?
I'm ready for it, man. You know what I'm like. Big up Chris as always, but
Yeah, bless up,
you're gonna
Chris.
get used to this stuff, man. Everyone get used to it.
Yes.
And big yourselves up, man. Like and subscribe as always, man. Don't mess about with the
follow.
like and subscribe thing, bruv.